do it. I found myself a land. That's why he said, Isaiah said, Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it, and he was glad. Abraham understand, Father was going to offer his only begotten son for the sins of the nation, for the sins of Abraham's nation. Willingly, the boy was going to come and offer himself. And through that, salvation would come to the nation. The nation through the Messiah would be blessed, would be declared righteous and holy. That's what he said he's going to be. You're going to be a holy nation, a chosen generation, a nation of priests and ministers. I'm going to bless that nation. And through that nation, I'm going to declare my name among the heathen. I'm going to declare my name among the heathen. That's why you got the nation of the circumcised and the heathen of the uncircumcised. That's why even though they're both saved through the same Lamb of the Messiah, you got the nation of the circumcised who gives forth the message, and the nation of the heathen that receives the message. The heathen receive. Thou shalt declare my name among the heathen. And this is what is being fulfilled here in Romans chapter 4. And this is what's going to be fulfilled in our day. Yes, brothers and sisters, we're being prepared. First, the call is being made to the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we need to be praying. The heathen, y'all, all of y'all that are Israelites need to be praying for the awakening to continue, for the awakening to come forth in its full power of the Father's righteousness. Because then, once that awakening is underway, this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. Then shall the end come. You see, at that time, in the first century, there was no email, there was no YouTube, there was no computers. And yet in one generation, the gospel message of righteousness by faith went to the then known world. In one generation, 140-year period, the whole thing went off. Okay? It went to all the earth. Well, now, we got all these apparatus. But it's the same Father Spirit that's going to bring that truth in these last days to the people. In much less than one generation, very quickly, like wildfire. That's why it's 144,000 instead of 12. It's 12 times 12,000 from the tribes. And it's going to come and bring forth that message. And then the heathen going to get that witness. Praise the Most High Yahweh. Let's continue. Romans chapter 4. We'll start at verse 11 and go down to verse 16. Verse 11 to verse 16. Romans chapter 4. Notice what it says. And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith which he had yet being uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all them that believe, though they be not circumcised, that righteousness might be imputed unto them also. And the father of circumcision to them who are not of the circumcision only, but who also walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham, which he had being yet uncircumcised. For the promise that he should be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith. For if they which are of the law be heirs, faith is made void, and the promise made of none effect, because the law worketh wrath. For where no law is, there is no transgression. Therefore it is of faith, that it might be by grace, to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is father of us all. So the faith of righteousness, the justification power, came to Abraham while he was yet uncircumcised, that Abraham might not only represent his chosen seed of the circumcised, but also the uncircumcised, so that in Abraham, truly in Abraham, all the families of the earth is blessed. Truly, through his seed, through his faith, through the justification and righteousness he received. Truly. Praise the Most High Yah. Praise the Most High Yah. Let's continue. This is a powerful chapter, is it not? When you understand it in the true context of the rest of the scripture, it becomes so much more living power. You understand? It becomes so much more living power. It's not just dead theory. It's not just dead understanding. It's living power that all of us can partake of. And we praise Yah for it. Notice again, Romans chapter 4. Read from verse 16 down to verse 22. From verse 16 to verse 22. Therefore, it is of faith, the faith of Messiah. Therefore, it is of faith that it might be by grace, to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that which also is of the faith of Abraham, who is father of us all. As it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations, before whom he believed, even Yahweh, who quickeneth the dead, and calleth those things which be not as though they were, who against hope believed in hope, that he might become the father of many nations, according to that which was spoken, so shall thy seed be. And being not weak in faith, he considered not his own body now dead, when he was about 100 years old, neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb. He staggered not at the promise of Yahweh through unbelief, but was strong in faith, giving glory to Yahweh, and being fully persuaded that what he had promised, he was able also to perform. And therefore it was imputed to him for righteousness. Righteousness is the key. I want you to notice the Apostle Paul talks a lot about the love of the Most High, about the love of the Messiah. He talks a lot about that. But brothers and sisters, I need y'all to understand, all the love in the world starts with perfect righteousness. Okay, that's what it starts with. You see, perfect righteousness includes love. It includes hope. It includes everything that comes in its train of the Spirit of the Father. It starts with perfect righteousness. Why is that? Because brothers and sisters, if you are not perfect in righteousness as Adam was, you can't get the rest of the stuff. You can't get perfect love without perfect righteousness. As much as you might want it, you have to have a spirit of perfect righteousness in order to have perfect love. Once you get the perfect righteousness of the Father, it brings in its train the whole game. Love and joy and peace and long suffering and goodness and gentleness and meekness. It all comes from righteousness. See, that's why the Christians all messed up. They get you in this soft, flowery thing they call love. This soft, flowery, weak, effeminate thing of a white Jesus that they call love. And then you are weak in the spirit. You are weak in the truth. And they don't understand why. Because they don't have righteousness. They don't have righteousness. That's why they can sit up and talk about, oh, we were blessed. Oh, no, we earned everything we got. You black people are just lazy. That's why they can sit up there and talk like that. That's why they can sit up there and talk like that. Be arrogant like that. Because they don't know. And they can deceive us with this weak, flowery, effeminate love they want to talk about. When the truth is, when you receive righteousness, you see, righteousness tells you that all wrongs are going to be made right. And brothers and sisters, whenever you see a situation where there's unrighteousness, where there's stuff that appears unfair, and yet you know in your heart it's going to be made right, and even sometimes you see it made right, doesn't it make you feel good? Doesn't it make you feel good when you see an unjust thing being made right? Like, for example, the Central Park 5. The boys were in jail for a long time, suffered jail, being declared guilty of a rape they did not commit. And then through the DNA evidence, the dude that actually did it, who is spending his life in jail, he come forth and said, I did it. These boys shouldn't be in jail. And when they found out, they let him go and they gave him $41 million. Now the $41 million does not cover, they will tell you, it does not cover the suffering that they suffer. It does not cover the suffering that they suffer. It does not cover the injustice that they receive. But yet we feel good at the fact that we know they're coming out of jail. They're not there no more. They've been declared innocent before the whole earth. Brothers and sisters, that is righteousness. But it's not the Father's righteousness, because in the Father's righteousness is not only made perfect. I mean, not only is the sin washed away, but everything acts as if it never happened. It's being brought back to perfection, being brought back to original beauty as if it never took place. That's the Father's righteousness. And so righteousness makes everything right. It makes everything good. It makes it the way it's supposed to be. And then you could talk about love. Then you could talk about love. You understand? When you know in the heart that righteousness is being imputed, and brothers and sisters, he's telling us Abraham believed. Sarah was well past the time of woman. She said, shall I have pleasure being old? Shall my Lord, she called him Lord. She said, shall my Lord have pleasure being old? Knowing it was past the time of life for her. Knowing that. Abraham also had other concubines. The Bible goes into it. After Sarah's death, he divided his wealth among his sons from the other concubines that he had. He married another wife named Keturah, but he had other concubines as well. That's where the wealth comes in. There was no social security to take care of the woman. She needed sons to take care of her, and she needed some money. So here, the woman, he had all these different sons from these different wives. Sarah understanding she could no longer bring forth a child. And so he gave all of these different, read it in Genesis, he gave all of the sons from the other concubines portions. But he said he separated them all from Yisha'ak. That was the promised seed. He sent them all away, just like he did Yishma'alah. And he sent them all away. And he kept all of the rest, most of his substance for Yisha'ak. That was the promised seed. So here's Sarah before the promised seed. She said, it's past my time. I mean, it's well past I'm going to have a child. And the Messiah said to Messiah said to her, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? She said, no, I didn't laugh. I didn't laugh. Yeah, you did. You laughed. It's okay though. You're going to call the child laughter. Yisha'ak means to laugh. So because you laugh, Sarah, the child you're going to have next year, you're going to call him Yisha'ak. It means to laugh. That's what it means. Yisha'ak, to laugh. And sure enough, a year from there, he said about next year this time, according to the time of life, you're going to have a son. And this is the chosen seed. Praise the Most High Yah. And they believed him, just like when they left the land of Haran to go into the land of Canaan. When they left the land of Haran to go into the land of Canaan, they understood, they believed. Now, 30 years, 25 years later, here's the promise being fulfilled. And they said, he ain't brought us this far to drop us. You know, brothers and sisters, that is the truth today, isn't it? Right? I mean, that is the truth, right? I mean, he don't bring us a certain distance to drop us. We need to remember that. All the time the Father overcomes things that we didn't think could be overcome. All the times the Father shows us his faithfulness to us and providing for us and taking care of us. He never brings us to a certain point to drop us. He always brings us to a certain point for us to trust him. So he ain't bring Abraham 25 years through the wilderness to Canaan to not bless him with the promised seed he blessed him with. Then after the child was grown and he said offer him, he didn't bring him all that way, all that time just to waste the seed and kill him. We got to remember that. Because many times he bringing us through stuff. Many times he providing for us. Many miracles are wrought. Y'all can bear witness. He know, he bring you out of stuff. He helps you. He delivers you. And then you get into something else and you be like, oh man, am I going to get out of this? He ain't bring you this far to drop you. He going to carry you all the way across the finish line. All the time. 100% of the time. He's never going to drop you. Praise the Most High Yah. Let's continue. Romans chapter 4, because righteousness is forever. Praise the Most High. Romans chapter 4. I'm going to start at verse 21. This is the last part, but it's also the most powerful part. From verse 21 down to verse 25 of Romans chapter 4. From 21 to 25. And being fully persuaded that what he had promised he was able to perform, and therefore it was imputed to him for righteousness. Now, it was not written for his sake alone that it was imputed to him, but for us also, to whom it shall be imputed, if we believe on him that raised up Yahushua, our master, from the dead, who was delivered for our offenses and raised again for our justification. Messiah was delivered. The Father allowed him to be delivered for our offenses and to be raised for us to be justified, to be declared innocent. He was raised from the dead to show death cannot hold him. Why? Because the divine power of righteousness overcomes death. Because the divine power of righteousness overcomes death. Praise the Most High Yahweh. He was delivered for our offenses. He said, I came not but for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Now you understand that. He came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, so that through the deliverance of the house of Israel, the deliverance of the world may come. Through the promised seed, the deliverance should come. The promised seed was Yisha'ak. And then through Yisha'ak, the promised seed came to David. Then from David, the promised seed came to Messiah. And through Messiah, the promised seed comes to the nation. And through the nation, the promised seed comes to the earth. From the Father. Praise the Most High. He was delivered for our offenses and was raised again for our justification, for us to be declared innocent. And now, through the promised seed of the Israelite nation, he is raising up the truth in righteousness, so that now, through that seed, the earth, the heathen of the earth can receive it. I don't care if you Chinese, if you Korean, don't matter. You German, you Irish, you Italian, you Greek. Through the promised seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you can receive justification of righteousness. Praise the Most High Yah. But you got to give up all them other gods to receive it. You got to give up all them other gods. Christianity, Hindu, Buddhist, Islam, Judaism, you got to give it all up. Animism, got to give it all up. Come to the promised seed. There's only one. There's only one Father. He only chose one people. Praise the Most High Yahweh. Let's have a word of prayer.